what's going on? Welcome to this special episode of the Strategy and Conversions podcast. I'm Jamie Michael Joseph, and as always, I'm joined by MarkTanner.
Hello there. Hello, everyone.
Mark, we're calling this a special episode, and the reason we're doing this is we're going to be looking at the kind of marketing, sales, and business predictions for 2022.
That's right. I'm going to put you on the spot. So this is what we said in earlier podcast sessions. What we're going to do is we're going to change. The specials are going to be, and I think we're going to have to run these as sort of series of specials. And what they're going to be, we're going to be talking to people in particular industries and kind of interviewing them and getting the nuggets that we can get from them to help us in all our own businesses. And obviously, we are high on the list is marketing and marketing and sales, but sales will treat separately. High on the list is marketing and marketing strategy. And who better to start with than our own Jamie Michael Joseph?
Straight on the spot. It's really interesting. I mean, the whole kind of marketing predictions. I used to do this, like going back, I think probably about 2015, 2016. I used to create a blog on a website. I used to put out on social media as well. And I did it for a good few years. And I would say, like, not to kind of big myself up or anything, but I reckon about 80% of it was like spot on. And then the other stuff, I always chucked in a few kind of weird things that could happen, and a few things that were a bit kind of left field. But I got to the kind of end of year, sort of 2019, and I didn't do it for some reason. And I'm glad I didn't do it, because obviously we had the pandemic came and it just turned everything upside down.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I didn't do that. So I haven't done one for about 2 years. So this is going to be quite interesting.
Right.
You sort of test me and test the whole kind of market, and
So the whole idea is we're going to talk about things that we need to, trends that are going on in the market, really, and things we need to look out for. And the whole idea here is that people can even make notes of what's going on or watch it back over again. But there'll be things that they can take away that will hopefully will really be helpful to them in 2022.
I just chuck a caveat in as well. It's just say, look, the stuff that we're going to run through, they said, like, look, not everything may be suitable for everyone. But there may be snippets that you take, maybe you adjust things to
I think
be more for you. And I'm saying that because I'm not too sure what's going to come up. I know you kind of give me a bit of an overview of what we're going to run through, but
But I think that's the case with anything, isn't it? You have to look at this and not think, I've got to implement everything that we talk about,
100%.
Because it's going to be dependent upon the size of your business, where you are at the moment on the journey. In some cases, it may be budget. It's and the amount of products maybe you have or services that you offer. It's got to be tailored to your business. But the whole idea is here, we're talking generically, so that people can then think, that will work for me, or whatever.
Exactly. So I think a lot of the stuff that whatever questions you put to me, my answers are going to be more on the strategic side of what we need to do, rather than kind of saying, like, if you said to me, which platform to use, and I said, I do this on Facebook. We're not going to be doing that stuff. We're going to look at overall stuff that you can control, stuff that you can do to obviously move forward throughout this year.
And I would urge everybody who's watching this recording, or whether they're watching it now, that don't think that things don't. If you I'll restructure that. Think of how you can apply these strategies to your business, even if you think it's beyond you, because there will be something you can do. The whole point about marketing strategy is that it is suitable for any kind of business to a certain extent. You take elements of it, but don't just dismiss something that that doesn't apply to me at the moment, because I'm just a startup, or I'm just doing this, or I know what I'm doing. I've been around for X number of years. Everything changes every year, and as we have seen. So
as we do, and my saying as well, Mark, is that momentum creates motivation.
Yeah,
and motivation compounds momentum. Like you have to start taking action. You have to start doing things. It may even just be a real small part of something I'm about to say that you go, I can start doing that right now. And then that start filling you with the motivation to do more of it, or it may open up different, different channels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's get into it.
I've been dodging it for way too long.
Yeah, you have. So here we go then. So with the first area, the thing I want to concentrate is what 3 areas do you think are a must for marketing strategy in 2022?
Yeah, sure. So I think marketing strategy and I think business as a whole.
Yeah, of course, because they're related, aren't they?
Yeah, but I think the reason I'm saying the business as a whole as well is we're talking about speed. So I think one of the things that we really need to focus on for 2022 within marketing and within business is speed. And what I'm not talking about there is rushing things through. I'm talking about speed in regards to the delivery of the process to a customer.
Yeah.
So not so much like delivery as in like Amazon delivering to your door, but that's an element of it, because people their buying habits have moved to that kind of area where they expect things instantly. They expect things to be done. So that now is coming to the stage before the actual purchase. So if someone is inquiring, if someone wants some more information and stuff like that, they're not waiting 3 days for you to get back to them. If they want to find out, more information about something, if they want to book something, if they want to go ahead with something, they want to go ahead right there. If they go onto a website and they say, look, I'm really interested in attending this workshop, I want to buy it now, I want to secure my ticket. And you say on there, oh, you need to book a time to speak with us, or if you leave your details here, someone will get back to you in a couple of days to discuss it. You've lost that sale. That's just how we are in 2022 now. We need to speed things up. Yeah. And part of that can be done with automation. It's all about that customer process. But I think speed is probably the thing that I would say is that first box to tick.
Yeah,
is your process, and it comes back to all the stuff we talk about as well. Is about having that process in place. If you don't have the process in place, you can't look at how you can speed that up or change it, or do whatever you need to do. But I think speed of delivery in regards to how quickly you can make things happen, and part of that as well is the solution that you provide, I feel. So if you're working with someone, if you can say, yeah, okay, look, we work together and it's a year, or we work together and at some point you'll have this outcome. I don't think it's going to be as appealing as a personal trainer that says, if you work with me for 3 months, you're going to lose X amount of weight, or you're going to be able to run this distance within 2 months. I think once we can speed up that process and we can put those kind of timeframes in it, we're going to win. So I think that the more that you can do that within your marketing and your business, the more you're going to stand out from the competition.
Okay.
And that brings into number 2 then, which part of it is linked, where we're talking about online. Like, you have to be online. It sounds really weird to say, right? In 2022, your business has to be online. It's something I've been preaching for several years now. It's something that I've been helping businesses with for several years, is that get your business online. But what we're looking at here now is not just having a presence, but is having your kind of real estate online that works within that process. So that first part of that, how can you get the person, the prospect interested? How can you have those mini conversions in place that they start to become a customer? And can you even deliver online? For instance, we might see a lot of people who are, say, advisors, saying that, look, most people, let's just scrap that. I mean, unless you're working in kind of like a physical job, most industries have had to adapt to do Zoom over the past year. That will continue moving forward. I know there's all kind of uncertainty right now. We're recording this, a little bit before Christmas, where who knows what's going to happen in the UK, if there's going to be another lockdown or all this kind of stuff. It's out of our control. We can't do anything about that. Yeah. But what we can do is make sure that we have our business set up in a way where we can stay active and we can take on business and all this kind of stuff. So we need the whole kind of online element to it to be able to fulfill. It's not just a case of the last year, okay, we started doing Zoom because that's all we could do. But now we're back in person or whatever, we don't need Zoom. It's like there's going to be elements to both of it. There are going to be people now that their kind of buying habits, their way of doing business has changed, that they expect this. And I actually feel like the big companies are going to lose out, because I feel like if you take the kind of like, say, insurance brokers and stuff like that, they just speak to people on the phone, the call center. People are going to say, can we jump on Zoom? Can I see you? Can I have that chat with you? So I think that there is a must. I think that we have to adapt where we're speeding things up and we're being online.
Yeah. Okay. And when you talk about real estate, do you mean things like websites and directory listings and that kind of stuff?
I think as much space as we can take. I think like for the likes of website and real estate is that I kind of mean there is, just say for instance you were providing a workshop and you were providing a workshop in person. Your real estate now can be that you've got that workshop as a course online.
Yeah.
It's that you're really saying real estate. Maybe it's assets are a bit a way of putting that. Whatever, whether it's your website, whether it's your social media, whether it's a course or something you sell is all an asset. And it's having more assets online than offline is definitely the way to go moving into 2022.
Okay. Right. And the third area and the third element of that?
Yeah. So if we're talking about must, right? So what's high importance of being important in 2022 when it comes to marketing / business? I think it's going to come back to brand, right? And more so personal brand over business brand. Right, although business brand is still important, is that whole kind of thing. Like I said, people want to see people. They want to see a face behind the business. They want to deal with people. They want to work with people. For that reason, you have to have some sort of brand. There's that whole kind of thing of know, like, and trust. That gets sort of I was going to say hammered to death. I think that gets done a lot. I think there's elements to it which are really true and they work for you. And I think there's elements to it which are more important. I think it's more important for people to trust you than like you. I think it's that kind of thing of, someone can like you, doesn't mean they'll do business with you. Someone trusts you to deliver, an outcome for you. Who cares if they like you? If you've got someone you really care about and they're dying, they need an operation and the consultant's really arrogant and, the surgeon's really arrogant, you don't like them. But they're the top of their field, but you're still going to trust them to do the thing, right? So there's that part. And then I think it gets into the next kind of area there where you show your authority. And you do that by adding value and adding intrigue and all this kind of stuff then to build that up. So people will see that you are the go-to person, and then they see how you can provide that solution to them and why you are the person. And that happens within business and it happens within personal brand as well. And the reason I'm talking about both of them, and I'm not talking about them as being one, is that they are separate and they're separate for good reason. One of them being is that with your personal brand, you can pivot, you can adapt, you can go into different industries and you can still take that with you. We take someone who's maybe say, they're a real good kind of leader in the dressing room in football, for example, and they're really good in interviews and stuff like that. But those skills are transferable that they can become a TV presenter afterwards, right? So you see people, you always talk about niche and stuff like that. It isn't always the case. If you have a strong personal brand, you can move around. But if you have a strong personal brand as well, you can control the narrative within your business. So if we take someone like Elon Musk, for example, with Tesla, well, it's two separate brands, right?
Yeah.
Tesla's his own brand on its own. Whether you like Elon Musk or not, you may respect Tesla, and if you like Elon Musk, you automatically like Tesla. It's that kind of way. But what we're seeing there is I'm talking about kind of Elon Musk being at the top. We're bringing that right back down to the whole kind of micro area. Yeah, you can be a micro influencer within your own kind of area. We did a podcast episode recently on local business marketing. We can say, look, you can dominate your city that you live in just by kind of showcasing more about what you're doing, your brand, and people knowing what you can provide. So I would say that those are my 3 musts. And it doesn't really talk too much about kind of marketing as what most people would think as being marketing. But we kind of talk about connecting the dots and marketing, sales, and business being that as kind of one and looking at that strategic part. So we're looking now at speed. We're looking at being online, delivery and process being online as well. And we're also talking about building brand, and I know I kind of said it gets done to death, but that whole kind of know, like, and trust, like just focused on that to begin with, and then get into showing your value and your authority.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's something about the authority that I kept banging on about in my copywriting training.
Okay.
is that it's all about building that. You build the trust about how you can do it, and then the authority of the trust of how you can do it and how you know what you're talking about, and the authority then the fact you've done it before, and how it works. So I think that comes out really, really well.
I heard something the other month I thought was pretty cool, and it was talking about brand, and it said if all of a sudden Nike came out with a hotel chain, right, and they put their logo on a hotel, people would still go there.
Yeah.
People would go there and they'd be like, yeah, it's Nike, like, I'm going there.
Nike hotels.
If you took Marriott and you put Marriott on a trainer, people probably wouldn't do it, and it's like having that brand that is transferable and people kind of relating to it, it is a bit different. And that's how people can relate to you as a person.
Yeah.
They can buy into you. So like I said, even if you pivot, you move into a different industry or do it in a different way, which, if you had a strong personal brand before the pandemic and you switched into a different industry or a different way of doing things, people still came along with you because they trust you.
Yeah. No, I get that. Right. Okay. Brilliant.
Is there anything that let's switch it around? Is there anything that you're seeing where you think, what, I think this is a must for 2022? You mentioned like copywriting, with your training.
I think, I mean, to me, going back to what you were saying here is know, like, trust and authority. Get your personal brand. To me, that's a lot about we're talking about. I'm talking about a particular tool here as opposed to the thing. You're talking about brand. I think a definite, and video is that brand of the video is the tool. I think that helps really establish your brand. I'm saying that as my expertise as a copywriter, but I understand that writing is the basis for all sorts of stuff to happen, but really video is at the moment is where you can really assert your brand, because unless you're absolutely a really brilliant writer, your brand comes across far better on video than it will through words, but words will back it up. But I think the brand, the personal brand, as you said, I think that is good. But I love your thing about speed. I think that's definitely the more slick you become at responding to somebody, the better if you respond more quickly than you have two people, one takes a day, one takes an hour, the decision is almost made because the person's got back to the hour, a conversation has started, and then the person who takes a day gets back to them. Oh, sorry, you've missed your chance. It's already gone. Speed is there.
Going back a good 5 years ago, I can remember working with a plumbing company, right? And we're doing some stuff. This is where like Facebook was awesome. You could post on Facebook, right? And you could set up a Facebook page. You could post on there, and you could almost guarantee that you would get inquiries, right? And we did, getting loads and stuff. But the guy who was running the plumbing company, he was very much in that kind of old school mentality of like, I work 9 to 5. That's it, kind of thing, right? So you would get someone come through and they would message for us at 8 o'clock at night, and they would say, we've got a problem with our toilet. We need it replaced or something like that. Could you give us a quote or something like that? And he would wait like 2-3 days before he replied to them, because he's kind of in his old school mindset of, I'm a plumber. You need me more than what I need you, kind of thing.
Oh,
I can do this. I can do that. And I remember saying to him, it's just like, when you don't reply to them on that night, you need to understand that they've sent that message to 3 or 4 different plumbers.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for someone to come back and say, it's going to be X amount of money. I could do it tomorrow, or I can do it in another day, or whatever it is. They're wanting to basically, they don't necessarily want the job done right now, but they want to box it off and they want to say that's done. So that's the whole thing where we're talking about with speed and stuff like that as well, as the time that we live in today. Because that the quicker you can deliver something, or the quicker, the way how you can quickly speed up that box ticking service, that system of, okay, look, this has been done now. This is the next step.
Yeah.
The more you can speed that up, I think you're just going to stand out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's good and interesting. Right. Okay. So we'll move on to the second question. What 3 areas do you see that haven't changed and will be the same in 2022?
I think the first one we have to look at there is data, like the importance of data. I think data has been one of those areas that for the past, I mean, it's always been there. People have always kind of analyzed data, and the whole kind of, if you think the whole kind of like accounting kind of industry, it's all kind of like looking at the data and prehistoric data. Whereas if we take the past 3 years, the way how we can access data, we can access it in real time. We can access what happened yesterday within our business through the data that we have, and we can make educated, and I don't know what word I'm looking for now, but we can make decisions quickly that are going to benefit us.
Informed, educated.
Yeah, exactly that. So it's a case of we can make those informed decisions, or and it's the same thing as like big retail do this quite a lot, right? Where it's just like we can see from our data in real time that this line of whatever it is that we're selling is selling really fast. We need to get more of that stock to that location because we're going to sell more.
Yeah.
And it's like, if we take that and we strip that back to a local business or, a sole trader or something like that, look, your data, it gives you a lot of stuff to go with. If you can go, oh, do you know what? In the summer, we were really busy with this kind of job, but we can market that now beforehand, coming up to next summer. We can make that decision there. If we can go, okay, look, for every kind of pound we chuck into this ad on Facebook, we get £5 back. Well, why would we not just put more pounds into that advertising, right? And it's that all comes back to that data. And it's not just, I'm talking there data in regards to kind of like marketing and the front end, but we've also got the back end to that as well. So even in our delivery, it's like, okay, look, we know that these people who came into, our program at this level, they didn't quite get the results that we were expecting at this stage. So now we need to change this to make sure that they get to it. So it's always looking at the data that we have and looking at where we can improve and, looking at where we can capitalize as well, we could take advantage of. So I think that's me. I think data is probably still one of the most underused tools.
Very much.
I think a lot of people kind of would just move forward. They just go forward, blindly. We mentioned we did a podcast episode, right, on kind of like reflection of the past year in marketing and stuff like that. And as you mentioned, it's like people don't look back at stuff. People don't look at that kind of way forward and going, okay, look, this is the issue that we had last time. Let's make sure we avoid that this time. They just blindly go into it and do exactly the same thing again.
Yeah. And it's interesting because this is the accountant side of me. It's not the be all and end all because there's other types of data as well, but understanding the numbers and what they tell you. When I used to be an accountant, this is what I found, and it was a while back when accountants were still back in the days of just giving you a profit and loss every quarter or every month. The profit and loss is meaningless because it's just historic data. What a business owner needs to know, what's happening now. So this is the whole. You have a set of numbers, and you have data that you actually sort of have text data as well of what's actually happening, summary data. But when you understand a number, for example, this product or service is not converting like it did. Why? And you're on it straight away. You're not waiting a month later to think, oh, we missed a month of knowledge, if you like, of information. You see it the following day, and you think, that's dropped, and it's straight away. It's big. Say the conversion rate would be going like 10%, for example. Just using an example, 10, and all of a sudden it drops to 9 or 9.5. It's only a glitch, but it's something that automatically, if you're on top of your numbers and you see it's now not 10 but a 9.5, you think, right, okay, I need to find that out. It could be just a stupid little glitch, but the point is investigate it. Because it could also be a horrible cliff edge that the next day is down to 6, for example. You don't know. Just looking at that number, you don't know, but the number is an indicator. It's like dashboards, isn't it, in your business? The number is an indicator of a potential issue. It's a hazard warning light, which you need to investigate. Maybe nothing, but it needs investigation.
That indicator is great, isn't it? Like you see that a lot in the stock market. Like people have kind of things set up so they know if it hits a certain level, they need to buy. If it hits a certain level, they need to sell. That kind of stuff. And within our business, we get to look at things like that. But I think in regards to, if we bring the focus to marketing on that, I think like you said, the whole kind of numbers and that, yeah, of course, it's important in any kind of business. And as you were talking, I'm just thinking there as well with the whole kind of marketing front, is you get to look at your data and you get to plan for any kind of areas where you think, you know what, this could cause us a problem. External threats here could cause us a problem. If we take it post-pandemic, the amount of people who came to me shortly afterwards and said, I've been relying on referrals from a network and stuff like that, you know, for my business. And now that that's stopped, I have no leads, I have no business, I have no, you know, clients coming in the door. I need to do something. And it's like, you know, when was the best time to plant a tree? 1,000 years ago, right? When's the next best time today? It's like, you know, we can't just make things magically happen, but we can start putting the stuff in place to make things happen. So when we start looking at our data, and I know you're really big on kind of measuring and stuff like that, but we get to look at things and go, this is where we have an issue. We need to plug a hole here, or this is where something's going really well. We need to take advantage of this.
Take advantage of it. Absolutely right. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. And
that's only one, isn't it? God.
That's only one area. Yeah. So what's the next one?
The next one is retention.
Yes.
I think retention is something that I think is never changed within business. I think it is always an area which is of high importance, but I think it's the area that gets the least attention.
Yeah, very much.
You know, I think so many people will, but any kind of business, where's the next customer coming from? What are we doing here? All our time is spent doing this, all our time spent doing that. But are we actually looking at, okay, like, how do we keep that person spending the money with us? And even how do we ascend them? How do we move them into the next stage?
Yes.
And how do we keep people and stuff like that? I can remember hearing this a good few months ago. I think it was you got a guy called Nick James at Expert Empires. I think I remember him saying something that he said he heard years ago, where he said, if every customer that has ever purchased from you, they were still a customer today, would you even need to market your business? And it's like, you wouldn't, would you?
You wouldn't.
You know? And it's like, don't get me wrong, there's some there that you wouldn't want anymore, right? But most of the time, the clients that you take on, you're just like, yeah, do you know what? If I can actually spend that time in making sure they're happy and understanding, and sometimes, you know, it can just be something as simple as you just haven't got in contact with them, or something like that, and that's what can cause the issue. You know, I remember we did a podcast episode, and I started speaking to someone I knew. They had a decent business, they turned over a good few million and stuff like that, and they turned around and said, we've got a retention problem. You know, we've lost 6 clients over the past 6 months, you know, but we're not really giving it any attention because it doesn't hurt us from a numbers point of view. And it's like, well, actually it does.
It does. Yeah.
You know, you're spending all this money on advertising and marketing and all this kind of stuff to bring customers in, where you're only getting so much money from them, when actually the lifetime of that value is worth 10 times, 20 times more than what you're actually getting from them, just because, you know, you're not taking advantage of the time. And I remember saying to this guy, I said, look, some things are out of your control as well. Like it could be a case of the person who basically brought you in the beginning, maybe they've left, maybe someone else has come in.
Yeah.
And they're looking at something which is, you know, it's £1 cheaper, it's $1 cheaper somewhere, you know, and they're going, well, we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
You don't know about the relationship that you had before and all the stuff that you've been doing.
Yeah.
But just because you haven't checked in and done that kind of process with them, you know, they're ready to change.
It's interesting. The first word I wrote when you started to talk about retention was re-engaging, because it's true. People do not spend enough time engaging or re-engaging. So, as you said, it may be you've lost contact with them for whatever reason, but that doesn't mean to say anything. And a lot of people think, "Oh, I lost contact with them now." So what does that matter? Start again. You know, re-engage with them and just say, "I just wondered," pick up the phone. Just wondered how you were doing. Oh, I don't deal with that department now. I've moved on. So who should I be talking to now? Again, you suddenly find out that the person that brought you in may not be the person that now deals with it. And you can say, "Oh, by the way, so and so, I came in because I used to deal with, you know, John Smith, for example, and I just would like to introduce myself to you and just get to know you a bit more, because we had a good relationship with John and wondered how things were going." So you start that new relationship, because as you said, things will change. You can't expect the customers to be exactly the same as you were when you dealt with them. Even 3 months ago, they're going to be moving around all the time. So you have to be constantly. I think you're right, absolutely on that, re-engaging or just engaging all the time.
There's an element to that as well, where I think sometimes people lose a trick, miss a trick with that, where they could speak to that person. Well, that person could have moved jobs and that department needs some help now. It could be that they move jobs and they're in a different company. That company needs some help now. Or it could just be in general that, the company that you're supplying to, they actually need more. You phoning at that time has actually helped them to see that. I mean, sometimes, like you say, you can't control what the customer is thinking. Like sometimes a customer may be happy with what they've got right now. Maybe the company's gone through a period of growth, right? And they've gone, we need extra now. We need to look at a provider that could provide extra. And they're actually overlooking you because they think all you do is this.
Yeah.
But by having those, consistent chats and stuff like that, we mentioned earlier about speed and process and, those kind of things. I mean, even the kind of checking in with the customer, I mean, this can be done in a way where it's on automation and, there's certain triggers and stuff like that, rather than you have to manually do things all the time.
Yeah, true. Can be automated. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. And then number three,
I think this is the big one, and I think this is one that gets overlooked all the time, and it's to own your audience. So you have to own your audience. There's so many people who, all their audience is on Facebook in a Facebook group. All their audience is on LinkedIn, or now, TikTok or whatever it is and stuff like that. And look, all these platforms are tools. They're tools to help you. Right. And they're tools to help you kind of get across to people, be social with them, build those relationships. But you want to extract the people who show intent, the people who are interested. You want to extract them into your own audience so that you can send them a message. You can send them an email. They can see more about you and everything you do. And you get to control it rather than, we've mentioned like that plumber, for example, that I mentioned on Facebook is going back 5 years ago. You had a page. You could post out, everyone's going to see it. People are going to then, get in touch. You fast forward to now, you get a Facebook page, you put a post out. How many people actually see it?
Exactly. Yeah, great. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, weren't we? So and this is really, we're talking about that you're having your own CRM or some kind of database.
Yeah, I mean, something like that. I mean, look, even if it's a case of it's a group, right? So even if, like, just say, for instance, you're like, I'm going to set up a group on Facebook and I'm going to showcase my skills and all this kind of stuff. It's like, great, look, set that up, but look to pull people into your own kind of infrastructure. So set up a group that is, I mean, it could be simple as, look, it's on WhatsApp. Yeah. Right? It could be as simple as it's done in a different way where you have an online system where people actually get in there and, like a forum or something like that, and they can actually, chat amongst themselves. But you have something there which you actually have control of their data. So for instance, like that, if you can get someone into a WhatsApp group, you have their telephone number, right? If you can send them a message anytime. Obviously, we're not talking about spamming people and stuff like that, but building those relationships and stuff like that is a lot easier when someone's opening the message or someone's seeing the message, rather than you trying to put stuff out on social media all the time. Or the flip side, like with that, for example, with groups and stuff like that on social media. Well, what happens one day if Facebook decide that they're not doing groups anymore?
Yeah.
Or what happens if they decide you have to pay for a group?
Yeah.
I mean, that there, I mentioned earlier about I used to do different predictions and stuff like that, where I think 2017, I did one where I said Facebook will do some sort of paid model for pages, a bit like the old school kind of Yell, where the more you paid, the more you would be visible and stuff like that. And they didn't actually do that. But what they did do is focus on ads. You want more people to see your stuff, you have to pay for ads. A similar way. It's like it's pay to play. Exactly. But if you and this is a way as well, is going back that sort of time and pre sort of 2017, there was a tactic that was in the marketing world where we would run ads to get likes to our page. Because the more likes you had on your page, the more people seeing your thing. And there was this whole kind of thing of the more people who followed your page. For every person who followed your page, it was worth £1 or worth $1. Because people would see your stuff, they would buy your stuff. So you would run ads and stuff like that to get more people to like your page. to then Facebook just turning around one day and saying, yeah, we're not going to show your content to those people who like your page, even though you paid for them to come into your ecosystem. It's like, well, now actually, if I take my ecosystem that I control elsewhere and I pull people into that, I've always got control of it.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
I think we've got, there's a guy in Australia, James Schranker, that, Klaus is a bit of a mentor of mine. He's got this saying that says, own the race course.
Own the race course. Yeah.
I love that. And my kind of take on that is I say own the casino.
Yeah.
Don't play the games. And it's like, you go onto some of these platforms, it's like, look, you're playing by their rules. When you own the casino, the house always wins.
Absolutely. Love that. Yeah. Okay. We'll go on to the next question then. Okay. So this is now right. So what 3 areas do you think we're going to see more of in marketing and strategy for 2022?
Yeah, I think what we've seen more, I think the whole kind of mixed content world, I think we'll see a lot more of, and we're talking here the sort of AR sort of stuff, like the augmented reality kind of stuff. Like there's this whole thing now, isn't there, with Facebook being called Meta, and there's the metaverse and all this kind of stuff. And there are people buying digital assets, like plots of land in a magical world somewhere for like millions, right? This is the world we live in, right? People are spending millions buying plots of land in a virtual world and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, right? I'm not into that whole kind of game. I need to learn more about it because people are making some serious money. But the whole point there is that I think what we will see is we'll see a lot more kind of mixed reality. So like you mentioned video, is I feel like what you will get is you will get videos like this. You'll get videos of kind of, us talking heads and stuff like that. You'll get videos of, things going on outside or behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff. But you'll also start to get videos of like cartoons and kind of avatar kind of systems, and stuff like that, where you will start seeing this whole kind of mixed content where people pop up and it's like, it's a cartoon figure of me. And I'm saying, come over here and join me, put your headset on and you can see all the kind of, stuff that we're doing. Will that be mainstream? I don't know, but I think we'll see a lot more of it moving forward. And I think that whole kind of mixed content, whether it's that, like I said, that kind of augmented reality, like the kind of headsets that you put on and go into that kind of world, that's coming, but that's been coming for many years. It's only now that you're kind of seeing stuff at the forefront. But you're seeing a lot of kind of digital assets as well. There's things like NFTs, which people are buying kind of, pictures and all this kind of stuff, which is online, so there's nothing kind of physical. It's all the kind of online world. And I think because of that reason, you're going to see a lot more kind of interactions, a lot more content, which is mixed. So you kind of have written, you kind of have video, you kind of have audio. And then I think you're going to see that kind of cartoon kind of digital content.
For the benefit of our viewers, NFT, what's that?
Oh, man, now we're getting into it, but I can't even think what it stands for now. But the whole kind of NFT is like, if you imagine people who collect, say, playing cards, like cards, like just say, like when I was younger, I used to be into wrestling, right? And I used to have a set of cards from wrestling. You used to have Hulk Hogan and the British Bulldog and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Now, someone else who likes wrestling, like a collector or something like that, they may swap me cards, right? Or they may buy that card off of me.
Yeah.
People are doing that now, and it's called NFTs. And like I said, I'm not into that kind of space, but people are buying stuff like that. But it's not physical. It's not a card. It's a picture. It's like cryptocurrency, but for assets, right? And what you'll see now is, for instance, that whole kind of NFT world is, you imagine now someone buys shares in a company, right? Just say someone's buying a football club, right? And it's 300 million, right, to buy this football club. And there's 10 shares.
Yeah.
Right, so it's 30 million. Someone buys in, it's worth 30 million. Yeah. Someone owns that token, right? So that now is a token, right?
Token, okay.
That cap value for that club goes up to, say, 600 million.
Yeah.
That token is now worth 60 million.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to buy it, they buy that token is 60 million. And it's a bit like a kind of blockchain world for assets. And we're going totally left field, and it's not my domain. Right? But the whole point is, because all that is happening, like I said, people are making serious money in that area. You will start to see more stuff come up with content, which is more kind of cartoony and kind of virtual reality. That's the word I was looking for, virtual reality. You will see a lot more of that kind of stuff happening throughout this year and for years to come.
Wow. Okay. It's going to blow my mind, that's for sure. Not as good for my mind can handle it. Okay.
Look, mate, let's chuck a little caveat on there. We said at the beginning, look, not everything is going to be for everyone. And I'm not saying get involved in that. Right? I'm not saying move into that.
That's right. This is what
we will see more of throughout this year within marketing. You open up your phone, like, what on earth is this? What's this picture of this gorilla with all these different kind of like colors over it? You know, this is what you'll see more of.
Okay, and the second area?
Second area, I mean, the way that we sum up, and we've summed up in training before, is fractional content.
Okay.
Right, so fractional content is something you will see a lot more of. And what this is that people will start offering more content, which is chargeable, but it's a small section of what it is that they offer. So, and I think this is something, the reason I'm saying you're going to see a lot more of this is because of the effects from the pandemic. We recorded a podcast earlier that goes out early January that we were kind of reflecting on the past year and things that happened. And we said one of those being buying habits. And we said some people now are, they have a few more considerations within their process now, or when they buy something.
Yeah.
So they may look at, do I want it? Do I, can I afford this? Whatever it is. Some people may not make the jump. So just say, for instance, you have a coaching program, and your coaching program. So let's take you for example, Mark. I know that you've got plans to launch a mindset coaching program. Early in 2022, price is going to be about $5,000, right? Now, for someone to make that jump to buy it for $5,000, they're going to be like, I don't know. And unless you've presented all this kind of stuff to me, and I know what I'm getting from it, and all this kind of stuff, and I know I can trust you, and you're the authority, all this kind of stuff, they're not going to make that jump. The fractional content is that, well, look, what we do is we take a part out of that, and we go, okay, look, this is the measuring tool that we would use in the beginning to see where you are right now and which areas need to change. And do you know what? You can buy this right now for a fraction of the price. So it's a fraction of the content, it's a fraction of the price. And you can come into that, and it's like a tester kind of thing. It's like dipping your toe in the water. But it's not a free lead magnet.
No.
Not, because we've kind of moved on. There's so much information out there right now. You can go to Google, you can go to YouTube, you can go to social media, so many experts and all this kind of stuff. But people just don't want information. They want transformation.
Yeah.
And to get that transformation, they will invest in themselves. They will invest in and this is the same for services, B2B, and all this kind of stuff as well. All this happens is sometimes people don't want to make a big commitment, lock in for 12 months for a high price or whatever it is. Sometimes they just want to take that kind of next little step. And that's all within that kind of process of lead generation and pulling people in. But you actually get paid up front, which is great. You give someone a win. So that kind of fractional content still gives someone a win. They've moved forward, and now they're more open to buying your kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that there is what I feel that, you're going to see the premium model. You're going to see the free model, but you're going to see this little kind of model in between that I'm calling it fractional content. I'm sure people may have, different kind of models for it, but that there is, and I think with that as well comes a bit of access, so people get to kind of speak with you and stuff like that. They get to learn a bit more about you before they make that big commitment.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And area number 3.
Area number 3 are what we'll see more of. You kind of mentioned it briefly with video. I think we're going to see a lot more video come about. And I think what we'll see a lot more of, I mentioned about personal brand. So I think we'll see a lot more people kind of showcasing themselves. And I would probably sum this up as documenting. And we kind of mentioned about kind of blogging before. I'm kind of a bit lost now. I don't know if we're doing this in this session or when we recorded the podcast, but we said about kind of marketing has this way of kind of repeating itself, but technology evolves it. So the likes of the blogger going back however many years ago that they would blog onto say a website onto just a text. It then moved into video and stuff like that, and moved into the Flogger, moved into social media now where we are with stories and reels and all this kind of stuff. I think we'll see a lot more of this. I think we'll see a lot more people who are documenting, and it's not just so much for them to big themselves up. I think that's the way the market will go. So like I said, people need to see you as that authority. And how do you do that? Well, look, you educate people, you showcase, you show them behind the scenes, you show them everything that you're working on. And I think that's what we'll see more of, is that documenting / more people becoming influencers on a micro level. Whether we're talking niche, whether we're talking area, like geo area where they live, but you will see a lot more people become that kind of, I don't want to say local celebrity, but local influencer. People will get to know people for whatever it is. And I'm saying like that kind of word there, influencer, I think some people will be put off by that, where they might think is something like Instagram, a model selling, some sort of clothing range or something like that. This kind of thing here, this kind of influencer level can be exactly the same as take a plumber, for example, a local plumber who's taking videos of before and after of what they're doing. So they turn up at Mrs. Jones's house and they say, this toilet's busted because of this bit here. So they're showing you, they're doing that video. I'm Mike the plumber, or Michelle the plumber. It's 2022, right? I'm here at Mrs. Jones' house. She's got a problem with her toilet here. This is what the issue is here. This part needs replacing, so I'm going to replace it now. Next video, look, this is all done. And we're saying video, this is short reels and stuff like that on social media. It can be put on website. It can be repurposed wherever it is. This is the outcome. It's done. You're going to trust Michael and Michelle now, right? Because they're showing you all the stuff they're doing. No one's going to watch this video and go, oh, I know what to do now. Mrs. Jones is not going to turn around and say, I'm not phoning those plumbers because, I can now do it myself because they've showed the video. They don't know the magic part in between. They don't know, they know what the problem is. They know that it needs replacing or whatever. They then see that it's been replaced, but they don't know the part in the middle. They don't know the bit that you did. All they know is that you're going to replace whatever it is. And that stuff there, that whole kind of documenting, that showcasing, becoming that kind of influencer within your space, I think that's going to be big, and I think some people will be a little bit put off with that, with the kind of video and stuff. It doesn't always have to be you. So it could be your team, but it could also be you recording your screen. You could record your screen when you're building a website or changing, certain things within a site, or creating, different content and stuff like that.
I guess that's sort of happening at the moment on a lot of YouTube video, isn't it? But we're just going to see more of the same thing. Yeah,
I think YouTube is such a great example that people have been doing this kind of thing for years, right? There was this 8-year-old. I know how old he is now, right? But I remember a few years ago, it's an 8-year-old who was reviewing toys, right? And because the video's got so many views in that, they run ads and everything, and they got different deals. He's now a millionaire. He's an 8-year-old, right? It's like, but the whole point here is that you will see people that are watching videos. Like, how crazy is it that we will watch people open up a box of something? So someone might get a new iPhone or something like that, and they open up the box, and they're taking it out. This is what I get in the box. This is what I get in the box. People are interested. Like, why? Because maybe they're going to be making that buying decision. If we take the whole kind of Twitch world, I don't know, it's maybe over your head, maybe, but with Twitch, I mean, people are streaming themselves playing video games, and people are watching them play the video game, and people are making mega money from that, right? And it's like, for some people, that's just mind blowing. That's like, what's going on? But the whole point is, like, that's where the attention is. That's where the entertainment is.
Yeah.
And for someone as well, I mean, there's a mate of mine who he's into cars and stuff like that. And he was replacing something in his car. And I remember we were talking ages ago, and we were talking about him setting up a YouTube channel. And like, he's done this, he's videoed himself replacing something within the engine of his car, and he stuck it up on YouTube, and he's got hundreds of views. right? And it's like he hasn't done anything to promote it or anything like that. But people are watching that who maybe they have the same car. Maybe they're just educating themselves in case something does happen. Maybe they're educating themselves because they're an aspiring mechanic or something like that. So they're interested. So whatever people's interests are, they're checking stuff out like this, and they're seeing whatever's going on. And I mean, look at it from this way as well. I mean, not so much kind of like the video documents inside it, can be documenting it in a different way. If you take our podcast, for example, we started our podcast 6 months ago. It's now been listened to in 20 countries. I mean, how crazy is that, right? There are people in different countries that listen to us, and tune in each week and stuff like that to listen to or watch our podcast.
And
the whole point here is that because we could be bothered to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's right. Yeah.
We've got me going off on one now. What's happening?
It's making that effort, isn't it, to get involved with it?
Everything comes back to that effort. I think the best way to kind of sum it up is that, look, you have to want it.
Yeah.
If you don't want it, then you're not going to do it. And if you don't do it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And someone else will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's really good. Fantastic. So this is the next set of questions. So again, it's 3 of them. Areas that maybes that could happen in 2022 when it comes to marketing. Things that, possible, this could happen. Keep your eye out for them.
Things like LinkedIn, for example. Right? If we take something like LinkedIn, we take that as a platform. That platform has changed a lot over the last 18 months. Right? So we said about, look, you need to control your audience, you need to own your audience, but we still need to get involved with these kind of different platforms. We need to take advantage of them. And we see like kind of TikTok evolving over the past kind of year. We see Clubhouse maybe, falling away and stuff like that. LinkedIn, we mentioned this in a podcast episode that everyone is seeing their reach kind of pulled back on LinkedIn. The same as that we did a while back with Facebook, and they kind of say, look, you have to pay to play now and stuff like that. I think with LinkedIn, the kind of whispers that I'm hearing is that they're allocating more kind of funds and resources to what they call their creators. So anyone who has a LinkedIn profile now can switch their profile to creator.
Yeah, so I've seen that. Yeah,
so people can follow them rather than connect with them and stuff like that. But the whole point here is that you have to start putting, decent content out, right? So LinkedIn have kind of changed their way where they've got this big kind of war chest to allocate to creators. So I don't know how they're going to really do that. If they're going to come up with a kind of pay model where they maybe will, pay people for more kind of content that they put out and, and decent content, or how they kind of keep people. But the whole kind of reason I'm saying about this is it's going to put a squeeze on the people who aren't doing it. So if you're seeing your reach is really rubbish right now, and you're not going to take kind of moves to create decent content and connect with people and build those relationships, and you're just going to continue doing what you're doing, you're going to be left behind on LinkedIn.
Okay, it's interesting. I have seen that. So yeah, that's very interesting. Okay.
So I think it comes back again to that kind of authority side, that entertainment side, that attention, that people have to be interested in what you're doing or what you're talking about. They're not just going to, just because you go on there and you say, I'm the best trainer at this, buy my stuff. We're past that. We've been past that for years. There's still maybe a bit of it that it works, but we're past that. What people are more interested in now is that, okay, look, this person is an expert in this, and they're sharing this kind of content. This is helping me take that next step. Coming back to that fractional content kind of thing, this is part of it, right? This is the steps to get to that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, and second area?
I think we will see a lot more AI taking over. And what I mean by this is I think we will start to see the middleman, the middle person, the person who controls the middle slipping away. And to give an example of this, if you take Facebook ads right now, is that anyone can go and run Facebook ads. right? That you go in, you pick your budget, you pick what you want to do, and you can run ads. Chances are they're not going to work for you. That they're going to be quite rubbish. So you will go to someone who is a Facebook ads expert, right? That Facebook ads expert, what they will do is they will basically create different kind of ad sets, and they will run ads in different ways and all this kind of stuff. And you'll get some decent results from it and stuff like that. This has been happening for however long. Facebook has been learning all of this stuff, right? So Facebook have been learning who responds to what and how people interact and all this kind of stuff. So Facebook have had this option for a little while now. When you run ads, is that you just tell them how much you want to spend and what you kind of want to get out of it, and you let them go and do the rest. And that will take over a lot more moving forward. So I feel like it may not happen within 2022, but within the next couple of years, those people who are Facebook ad people, their job will be, they will be made redundant. Mm-hmm. They won't have a need for them anymore. And I'm talking just about Facebook ads here, but I think there will be other areas within the whole kind of marketing services that you will see that as well. People will get made redundant from their job because computers will take over.
Yeah.
Computers can do the job. Like that whole kind of thing of, why would you pay someone if you had £1,000 to spend on ads this month? Why would you pay someone £500 to set it up when you can pay the whole £1,000 to Facebook, and they have more data, more solutions, and all this kind of stuff that they can start running it and learn from it to then make things happen better and adjust it automatically as you kind of run along. So that's that there is. I'm using Facebook as the example, but I'm trying to think of another kind of example here in a different kind of way.
Well, interestingly enough, I have seen ads on Facebook about using AI for copywriting.
There we go. Yeah.
Now, for me, that seems really, really odd, because for me, there's a massive part of copywriting that where you have to convey emotions. People buy with feelings, and there's different in my industry, in that industry of copywriters, you have people who write perfectly wonderfully grammatically correct copy, and you read it and you think, but it's just no emotion, there's no feeling there, you got no. And I can see AI being able to do that without any issue at all. But I must confess, I pride myself on writing copy that is really quite emotional and really gets into the feelings of how and the psychology of buying. Now, my first reaction was when I saw that, it was, I can't see that working. But yeah, AI is learning all the time. So especially on the psychology of buying, I'm sure that AI can start thinking about that. So it's interesting, because I've seen that in an industry where I never thought AI could make any kind of inroads. But
you brought that up actually, because that there makes so much sense, and that allows me to evolve on what I'm saying here, get to add to it, because that's exactly right. Like all these kind of technologies have come about with AI. So if you take copywriting, if you go back 3-4 years ago, there were a lot of tools available which were article spinners, right? So you would basically put an article in, and they would create a new article from that article.
Yeah.
Put out on your blog and so. And that's what, not saying everyone in the whole kind of boat, but that's where, if you went onto Fiverr and stuff like that, and you ask people to write blogs for you for $5, that's what you would get.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. You'll get that kind of stuff. With the AI tools now, is they would ask you, like, say 5 questions, right? So you would put in your answers, and then they would build out a big kind of article or blog post or sales page or whatever it is from that. And it's all good stuff. But like you said, there is that there's parts missing. So that kind of emotion thing, or even kind of emphasizing a certain point within there, they can't do that.
Yeah.
And yes, okay, this is the same with the whole kind of Facebook ads thing, right? Is that there will still need to be a bit of tweaking. There will still need to be a bit of direction going on. So when I'm saying about the whole kind of middlemen kind of thing being made redundant, maybe it's more about kind of an 80-20 kind of thing.
Yeah.
What we will see, and I think this is probably the best way to kind of sum it up here, is that what we will see is a lot of the rubbish being removed from the market. So the people who are just like saying, yeah, I can do that, This is what I do, and there's no real substance from it, they will disappear. And the ones who are really good, maybe they can even charge a premium then, but they're really good at actually delivering that result, because now the technology is there to support them, make things again faster. Talked about speed, and making that process shorter, or moving stuff in a different direction.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, speed, absolutely, speed is going to be there, because there's an awful lot of writing that, as you say, is I'm not trying to denigrate anybody else's writing, but there's kind of standard writing which I can see AI replacing, but like you said, 3 times faster than someone can write it.
Because this is it, isn't it? So like you said, look, you're not saying anything against anyone. However, it's like, look, is the job that you are actually doing inferior to what a computer system could do? If it is, you're in trouble. That's the market we are.
I think you're right. Yeah, you have to think about
that. And do you know what? My third thing, right, was going to be around kind of freelancers, but I'm actually going to flip that around now and actually talk about agencies, because I actually feel like we're talking about marketing agencies here as the kind of focus. Like, I feel like marketing agencies' days are numbered. I feel like we will start seeing agencies pivot and move away, because there isn't a need for them. They are the middle people in most scenarios. There are some agencies out there that obviously, control everything and deal with everything throughout. But if we take an agency as the typical model, is you may see someone who say they will provide a website for £1,500 here in the UK, right? They will take your £1,500, they will pay an outsourcer, a freelancer, £500 to do it. They pocket £1,000. The market's become savvy now, right? We know we have access. We know people who can provide the actual service. We don't need a person to go in between. We can go straight to source, and we can pay £500 rather than paying £1,500. And I think the market has woken up to that. And we mentioned about buying habits and people having more consideration. So why are they going to go, okay, I'll pay the £1,500 when I could pay the £500 here and get the exact same result? Now, if it's a different result, it's a different story, but the exact same result. And in most cases with agencies, look, that's what you're getting.
Yeah.
If we take a website, for example, people are going to build in WordPress, no matter how they kind of turn around and say, oh, we don't use templates, or we do this, we do everything. So does everyone else. It's like that. That's the true story. Look, so does everyone else. What I can remember being in a networking room where that exact same scenario was happening. Someone was offering a website for £1,500. Someone was offering a website for £500. They use the same software. They give you the same components as used. Now, whether someone has more skill, or someone is more likable, or someone is more someone has more intelligence within your field that they can do certain things, then okay, fine, maybe you pay a bit of a premium to have that. But if not, if you just want the same outcome, you're going to do it. I can remember the person doing the £1,500 one was coming out with all these stories about, oh yeah, we don't do this and we do that and we make sure all this kind of stuff. I know that they were trying to recruit the other person as being their outsourcer. So it's like, all they were looking to do is take the £1,500 off and pay the person £500, so they both win.
Wow.
And it's like, this is like one of them Only Fools and Horses stories from many years ago, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's all they're trying to do. But I think with that, I think what we will see a lot of them is talking about freelancers is, I think what we would do is we will see the freelancers who maybe they were working somewhere else, or maybe they are working somewhere else. They want a bit of a side hustle, or they want to set up their own thing. They will be the freelancer and they're happy, So a company will go to a freelancer direct and just be like, we want you to write some content for us. We want you to create some graphics for us. We want you to edit our website for us, whatever it is. They just go direct to that person. With someone who has a certain skill within marketing, they will look to join up and have the full solution. So not an agency, but they will provide the solution to someone. So they won't say, so if you went to an agency and you say, look, I'm looking for, some help with marketing, the agency will be like, well, we offer websites, we offer this, we offer that. What would you like? And it's like a kind of buffet thing. You kind of pick up what you want, but you don't necessarily know what you want. right? Whereas a media company, right, and this is what we will see people move more towards. So maybe someone like, say, a video company, right? They will shift into more of a media company. And what that kind of means there is that media is that they are going to work out what video you need for whatever kind of solution it is you're looking for. They will create the video. And then that after part as well, in regards to promotion and marketing and conversions and all this kind of stuff, will be taken care of all within a package from this company. So instead of being an agency and saying we can do this, this, that, and that, and do you know what, we're gonna we offer these things because that's what we can do. That's what we know we're good at. These are the prices we charge. Not necessarily this will be best for you, but it's like this is what we offer. So you're getting a kind of you're getting a biased kind of view from an agency, whereas from a media company who are offering a package, you can go to them and have that whole package in one, right? And a freelancer who will do what you ask them to provide. There's no need for that kind of middleman. I know I'm going a bit kind of left field on that, but I think that's where we will see things shifting.
Yeah.
And I think that's been on the cards for a little while now.
Okay. Yeah. I get that. Okay. Interesting. That's interesting. Okay. So now we're going to move on to a different thing again. What three areas do we need to be mindful of when we're creating marketing strategy for 2022?
I think if we're looking at kind of mindful, I think we always have to be looking at the outcome. We have to be looking at the goal, and we have to make sure that our strategy is mapped towards that goal. And in that way, we're not dealing with any kind of shiny object syndrome or anything like that. Anything that is like, okay, you need to jump over here and do this. So for instance, like, Clubhouse came about, if you wanted to dip your toe into Clubhouse, great. But if you switched off of your strategy, off of your direction of your goal, and you moved into that because you thought it was a gold rush, a quick win, you're not going to, sort of be able to do that. Yeah, I think that sums up as number one. I think that it's about having that direction, having that goal. Is I think if we're looking at kind of marketing strategy, you need to have that moving forward.
Okay. Yeah, fine.
And then the second one, which is, it may sound as if I'm contradicting number one, but you have to be prepared to adapt. Right. And what we're not saying there is that you plan out to change, or if you see something like a gold rush, that you jump onto it, but you look to take advantage of it. So you are prepared to adapt. And I did something recently where I put a post out and it said about you need plan B skills, right? And what we're talking about here is that I was talking a bit about the military. I said there's this story from this military elite person. I can't think if it was Navy SEALs or SAS, and they said about, look, strategy is important. They spend a lot of time on strategy, so they go through the whole kind of mission. Look, this is our end goal. This is what we need to achieve. This is anything that can pop up or anything like that. This is how we can overcome it. That's the strategy. If all goes to plan, we complete our mission. But when they get there, the strategy goes out the window as soon as the first bullet starts to fly, right? Because there's some things that you can't plan for. There's some things that you may have misjudged, and maybe things that happened. But what you're not doing, you don't go, now we move to plan B, right? Because look, there is no plan B. You haven't created a plan B, but you have plan B skills. So that when plan B happens, right, you are confident, you are comfortable that you can still navigate that road. You can still complete your mission because you're backed up with those skills. And that comes back to those kind of 3 C's that we talk about clarity, confidence, and courage. It's that, look, once you know the direction you're going in, once you know what you're looking to achieve and how you can help someone achieve it, you have those things. So no matter what happens, you get to stick on that road moving towards your goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's great example. And the third area?
I think the third area, I'm going to have to say it in kind of 2 ways. I think the first way is to back yourself. Right? I think you have to have that kind of confidence within yourself. Like you have to be going out there to say, look, I am who I am. This is what I do, you know. And the other way I was going to kind of sum that up is I was going to say, start punching. Right? And what I mean by that is like, look, you have to be in the fight. Like you have to let people know that you can help them. I think a lot of people within business, and you know, I've been in this situation as well myself, is that we kind of sit back and we you know, you're good at what you do. You know you're good at what you do, you know, and you can tell people you're good at what you do. But if you're not out there shouting about it, someone else is. And there's that kind of saying that the squeaky wheel gets the oil, you know. So it's like, you know, it's sometimes the people out there who are shouting are the ones being heard, and you sitting back and not showcasing everything you do, you can put this out there. And there's a guy I know, Matt Ruddle, right? He's in the kind of marketing space, and he sent me a message the other month, and he just said, I love all the stuff you're putting out. It's about time. He said, you're like the world's best kept secret in marketing. You know? And I was just like, you know, and that's coming from someone in the space as well, right? You know, and it's like, it's good to get those kind of messages, but it's like, you know, he's saying that he knows what I can do, and he knows my knowledge and stuff like that. But no one else, like maybe in, you know, going to LinkedIn and stuff like that, and there's thousands of marketers, you know, but some other of them are, you know, on there each day and they're chatting and, you know, they're putting more stuff out saying, I can do this, I can do that. People are going to start to believe them more than, you know, they believe me when they don't see me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that whole thing now, I think we have to make sure that we're putting that out there.
And so, and how would you suggest, is that done by just putting content out more and more regularly, or having content that is slightly different to others?
So there's this whole kind of thing in marketing, right, where I think you get marketers are in two camps, and it depends which kind of camp you want to go into. The way I see it is, let's go with both, right? And I've kind of heard it this way, where they said, look, you want to do machine gun marketing, right? And what they mean by that is like, they basically just say you were in a scene of The Walking Dead, right? You got all these kind of zombies, right? Do you want, you know, a sniper kind of shot, you know, or do you want a machine gun that you could just blast all of them, right? And it's like, well, you would want a machine gun, right? Because you want to be able, you want to blast all of them, right? But if you were, if you wanted to take a shot, right, and you wanted to hit one person, right, and you wanted to be really kind of precise within that, you'd want to be a sniper, right? You would want that kind of sniper shot. So it's like, let's be both. Let's do the machine gun approach, where we let people know this is who we are, this is what we do. Our doors are open, the same as a shop opening up each day. That kind of omnipresence kind of thing. This is what we do. The sniper stuff, well, look, let's start talking to people for that kind of fractional content side. People who may be interested to take the next step. You know, we look to extract them, we look to get them into our own audience. That's what we do with the sniper stuff. So I think, look at your social media as you've got a shop that you open up each day. If you don't open up your shop, people are just going to walk on by. Right? But when you open up your shop, people can see that you're in business. They can come in if they want to. They can find out more information. But then you have the other part where it's like, this is what we offer. Come here if you want it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get that. In fact, I know someone, just thinking about what you said there, I know a coach who's doing exactly that. Lots and lots of generic posts, and then every now and then there's a post about kind of, well, almost fractional content.
This is a way as well where we've kind of changed marketing's changed, the whole kind of attention kind of world has changed within the past kind of 4 years. Is that there used to be this whole kind of thing where it's like, look, you have to niche, you have to talk to, you know, that section of your market. But the whole thing is that we've got to a stage now where if we're scrolling through social media or whatever it is, and we see a post from someone or a company, and it talks about something that we're not particularly interested in, we just scroll on by, right? We don't look at that and go, oh, that company deals with that, I don't like that company now. We just scroll on through, right? But when we see something that is of interest to us, we'll stop, we'll look at it, we'll check it out. Maybe we'll take the next step and go and see something else that they're doing.
Yeah.
But that could be the same company. You know, it's like you walk into Costa, right? If you're like me, I just get a black coffee. But you can get a caramel extra shot, macchiato, latte. I'm making it up now, right? But and they got tea and they got hot chocolate, right? So there's a mixture of stuff. So they cater for a whole bunch of customers, right? You don't get someone go, I don't like coffee, right? So I'm not going to go with my friends into Costa and have a hot chocolate. But the whole kind of premise there is that you used to be taught that, you know, if you put stuff out and you're talking to a different audience, well, you know, you're never going to be heard. And it's like, those people won't switch on at that point, but they'll switch on when it interests them. And this is like, if you've got a really good product, for example, or a service, and you cater to a whole different range of businesses, right? Like different sectors, well, your product remains the same. But you could put something out saying, hey, accountant, have you thought about employee benefits? You know, hey, plumbing company, have you thought about employee benefits? You know, this is how we helped someone in the dental space with employee benefits. This is how we helped someone in the finance space with employee benefits. It's like your product doesn't change, your service doesn't change, but your messaging to the ones outside can be that. That's your sniper kind of way.
Yeah.
But your generic one is, we do employee benefits. We help people get this. We help people get that outcome. That's your generic stuff, opening up your shop each day.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Brilliant. Wow. A massive amount of content there. So here's the final thing then. After all that that people can watch and we've talked about, I made masses of notes. What's the one thing that we should be focusing on overall? If you're looking at everything you had here, what's the one thing that would be the, as I say, that top thing to focus on?
For me, moving into 2022, marketing is summed up in one area. That's video.
All right.
Video. If I had to say, look, concentrate on one thing in marketing for 2022, I would say video. And that there is across all platforms, you know, whether it's your website, whether it's video hosting platforms, whether it's social media, whether it's just like content that you're delivering straight to a person, video is always going to win. And there's a few reasons for that. For one, that you can get on video. Two, you can explain stuff on video, but by talking, you can showcase stuff on video and show things you can show how things work and stuff like that. But also that video gives you so many options in creating more content. Because if you take a video, well, do you know what? You can break it up into 20 videos.
Yeah.
Right. You can take the script from that. You've got a blog post, basically. You know, you've got 17 different social media posts as well, all from one video. And there's a few different ways how you can do that, of course, you know, but I think video there, I think we're seeing lots of platforms shift towards video.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to kind of play into the whole kind of video realm a lot more. And I think as well, like I mentioned that years ago, I always used to do predictions, and I would always chuck like a few random ones in there. You know, so I can remember as well, like random ones I used to say about Facebook could move towards a dating app, right? And it's like the every year they started trying to do something within Facebook where they were trying to connect people and stuff like that. But at that time, it didn't happen within that year. I'm still on this, right? Where I said that I feel like Amazon will come out with some kind of social media platform. Right?
Well,
and my thinking at the time is that they would have done they would have done something with Twitter. Right? But that didn't happen and stuff like that. But I feel like they will enter that kind of space with social media because they control so much, right? They got all the kind of shopping stuff, you know, they've got all the kind of web infrastructure as well. They've now got Prime with all the kind of shows and all that kind of stuff on.
They have huge audience.
You know, they're keeping people within that kind of bubble. You know, if you add a social element to that as well, you know,
it could even rival a Donald Trump social media presence, couldn't it?
Well, I don't know what even happened with that in the end, you know, but there was all talk about it, but I didn't see anything that happened. But the reason I'm saying about that, the kind of random ones, is this is obviously outside of those predictions that we kind of said, but we're talking about video. Now, video, I think there's something that's going to happen with video on all these platforms, right? Because you had stories come around, right? Yeah. So like you had Snapchat was really big because they had the whole kind of stories thing, right? Facebook just went, we're having that. You know, we're going to offer you all this money. You don't want it. Well, we're just going to steal it. So, you know, we just set up within Facebook and Instagram, you've got stories, right? They didn't work on LinkedIn, you know, but you've got stories there. And then TikTok came around and they're massive and everything like that. You know, Facebook started, I mean, the thing is as well, if you take TikTok 2 years ago, Facebook created another platform that they just used in countries that TikTok wasn't in to test it. And now they've moved it into Facebook and Instagram where you can do reels and you can do different things. And you can even share TikTok stuff across and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the shift has been made that way. So we kind of went, okay, look, you can post a video, but now you can post a story, and YouTube have shorts as well. I don't know how long they're going to stay around. I'm not too sure on that. But you also, you then get obviously, so you had the stories and shorts and stuff like that. You then have reels. Yeah. So reels have kind of become the big thing. And like I said, you see people on kind of TikTok now, the age range is increased. People are doing more kind of sensible talking and stuff like that on there rather than just kind of silly stuff, right? But you're starting to see reels last longer.
Yeah, okay.
So where we had stories and it was like 10 seconds and 30 seconds, and we had reels and they were like 30 seconds and 60 seconds, and now they're like longer. I think you can do like 3-minute reels on certain platforms now and stuff like that. Will we see all of that just kind of come into a new name, into a new way of doing things? So instead of stories, instead of reels, it's just like, you know, this is what it is mixed content. You know, whether it's me on camera for 10 seconds, whether it's me on camera for 10 minutes, you know, it's something else like that. There's something within video. And that's why my number one overall pick was video.
Yeah.
Because I feel like something's happening within those platforms, and those platforms are where all the attention is.
It's interesting because YouTube also have doesn't YouTube have a thing called shorts or something?
Yeah, so YouTube have shorts, and it kind of came around. I don't know how successful it's been, but I kind of feel like with YouTube is I feel like people go to YouTube because they want to learn something or they want to educate themselves quickly on something that's going on or see something, rather than the shorts being an insight into someone's life and stuff like that. Whereas on the social media, I think that's what you get.
Yeah. And Amazon could be the place because it's such a massive company with such a huge database of people, and they'll know that they have such analysis of what people want as well. Very, very similar to Facebook. They're going to know what buying habits.
The thing as well, I mean, we're kind of recapping a few things here. We're talking about Facebook ads. I mean, we've seen a big change within Facebook ads this year. You know, we didn't actually mention this on the podcast when we were looking back at some of the stuff, but when they did the whole kind of thing of stopping the whole kind of cookie tracking kind of system for our Apple phones, right? That's a big thing, right? Apple and Facebook and Apple kind of, you know, having the row between them. So Apple stopping it, sorry. And they're basically saying, look, you know, if we're not making any money, right, then, you know, why would we let you do that? You know, so someone set an ad up on Facebook, and, you know, you click on the ad and you go through to a website, you then get cookied because it's on like the Apple phone or whatever, and then Facebook run more ads. Well, Apple are just like, well, look, if you're not paying us a commission on this, then, you know, see you later.
Yeah.
And you'll see Apple kind of doing their own kind of ads and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, why was the reason I was talking about that? Is with Amazon, like you said, they have all the buying habits from the person. So they will know what they've been looking at, what they've been shopping.
Oh, yeah.
So for them to tailor ads to someone can be really direct.
Absolutely.
You know? If you can get to that point where you can say, look, do you know what? You purchased this protein powder a month ago, you know, or, you know, 24 days ago. it means that you should be out in 5 days. Do you want us to send a replacement? Just click here.
Yeah.
You start getting that ad, whilst you're in a feed where you're going through because all your friends are there and stuff like that as well. That kind of stuff, is, it's there already. It's just
there
we're
already,
not getting it from Amazon in that way.
It just doesn't take much imagination for them to tweak it, and Jeff Bezos can then start really trying to colonize Mars, then, can't he?
Well, I mean, that's the way it's all going, isn't it? I think as well, mate, if I was going to chuck some more kind of random ones in just for a bit of fun, we kind of mentioned Clubhouse, didn't we, about how kind of came about and where it goes now. I actually feel like it's just going to disappear.
Yeah.
And I feel like Twitter will basically replace it.
Okay.
I've been saying for a long time that Twitter needs to do something.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, look, if you're in kind of the PR world or even sports or kind of news and journalists and stuff like that, it's still a really good platform, right? It still gets used. But if you're not on there all the time, it's not good for your business. You're never going to get anything from it from business. But they did add the audio rooms in there. And audio rooms are basically just what Clubhouse is, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if they add that where it becomes a bit trendy, where it's like, use Twitter and you've got these audio rooms and all this kind of stuff, there's no need for Clubhouse.
No, that's true.
And with Clubhouse as well, I mean, there are about 6-7 other kind of platforms that are similar that I can think of that are just sat there ready to take over anyway. Yeah,
I think it's So there's lots of things that could be happening in 2022. So watch this space. Well, I don't even know how long that this
time, hasn't it?
This special was, but that's some fantastic information there that's come out. That I've made copious amounts of notes, and it's interesting. On the whole, the one thing to focus on is video. So I don't have anything more to add, really. I think it's been.
I think as well, mate. What I think with all this is like, when we're going to do this recording again in December 2022, right? So we're going to do, first of all, we'll do a review and we'll see what was right, what wasn't right.
Yeah.
And then we'll do the predictions for 2023.
Yeah. Don't say 2023.
I know. But I meant more about that is like, I'm happy to put myself on the line, and just say like this stuff that I've spoke about within here, like I think everything I've kind of mentioned, there will be moves towards that. Maybe not Amazon.
Well, we'll do that. That's a challenge. We'll do that. We'll see where it was actually the forecast came true. Brilliant. Well, what can I say? I hope the people who've been watching this, or people who will watch the recording of this, will be able to take masses away from it, because there's some fantastic areas and nuggets there. So all I can say is thank you very much, Jamie, for all your knowledge. And any last words? Don't think there are, really, are there?
I just think, look, if you don't know where you're going, how can you get there?
Well,
right. So plan it out. No matter what, all the kind of platforms are tools. The tools help your tactics. The tactics support your strategy. Yeah. Your strategy is around coming back to you, Mark, your life goals.
Absolutely right.
So it's like that you need it all in place, and shameless plug. If you need some help with that, strategy and conversions, right?
Absolutely, that's the place to go. Strategyandconversions.com.
That's the one. We'll leave it there. Then, Mark, it's always been a pleasure.
Indeed, it has, and thank you for all your wisdom and knowledge.
That's it. And check out the podcast, check out all the other episodes, and we'll see you then.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for watching.
See you then.